All right, let's dive into an idea that might just change how you think about motivation. It's called the dopamine mismatch, and it's all about why the rewards you're supposed to want might not be working for you at all. So let me just ask you straight up. Have you ever worked your tail off, hit a huge goal, got the prize you were promised, and then just felt flat? Like a weird hollow feeling right where you thought the celebration should be? You know, it's a feeling a lot more people have than you'd think. You might be sitting there thinking, the bonus was great, so why do I feel so empty? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in exactly the right place. We're about to unpack why that happens. And that very experience, that strange feeling, that brings us to our first big idea here, the unrewarding reward. Okay, first things first, if you felt this, it is not just you. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful or that something's wrong with you. It's actually a really powerful clue about the unique way your brain is wired for motivation. So to really get a handle on this mismatch, we have to talk about the star of the show in our brain's whole motivation system, what we'll call the motivation molecule. Now, most of us have heard dopamine called the pleasure chemical, right? Well, that's not quite the whole story. It's much more accurate to think of it as the molecule of anticipation, of motivation. It's the little messenger in your brain that screams, "Ooh, I want that, let's go get it." It's the engine, not just the trophy at the end. For a lot of people, this whole reward pathway is pretty simple, pretty standard. You do a thing, you get an external reward, could be praise, a bonus, whatever, and bam, your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine that feels like satisfaction. It's a clean loop that makes you want to do it again. Simple, effective. But here's the million-dollar question, right? What happens when that pathway just doesn't fire? When you get the reward, but the bam part never comes. Well, that's where we meet a very specific kind of person, a profile we're going to call the complex thinker. So who is this complex thinker? Well, they're the ones who get bored easily and have a high need for novelty and new challenges. They're driven by a deep need for autonomy, for control over their own work. They're not just punching a clock. They're searching for meaning and purpose. They get a real buzz from mastering a skill or cracking a tough puzzle. And because of all that, simple, predictable rewards, they just don't hit this. And that difference, right there, brings us to the core concept of this whole thing, the dopamine mismatch. So, here's the theory in a nutshell. The brain of a complex thinker is just wired to respond less to those predictable external rewards and way more to the internal stuff, the challenge itself, the novelty of a problem, that deep feeling of purpose. And you can really see the clash when you put the two systems side by side. The standard system runs on predictable, external, and simple fuel. But the complex thinker's system, it ignites with novelty, with stuff that comes from within, and with things that feel deeply meaningful. They're practically different operating systems. So, why can a bonus or a pat on the back sometimes fall so flat? Well, for one, it can actually feel like it cheapens work that felt deep and meaningful. It can take away that valued sense of autonomy, turning a passion project into just another transaction. And it completely fails to light up those novelty-seeking parts of the brain. The point is, the reward isn't the problem. It's the fundamental mismatch with their brain's wiring. So, knowing all of this, the question really has to turn inward, to a more personal one. What fuels you? And this is so important to get. This is not about being broken or difficult or ungrateful. Not at all. It's about recognizing that your motivational engine might just need a different kind of fuel. You know, you're not a gas-powered car that won't run. You might be an electric car looking for a charging station. And honestly, understanding your own dopamine mismatch can absolutely reframe your entire perspective on what motivation and success even mean to you. It lets you stop chasing external rewards that don't work and start building a life around the intrinsic challenges that truly light you up. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. If the standard rewards don't do it for you, what does? What are the puzzles, the challenges, the causes that actually get your dopamine flowing? Because the answer to that question, well, that's your personal roadmap to a much more motivated and fulfilling life.